Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to show you how to make a really simple but really tasty chicken, leek and mushroom risotto and a pudding to go alongside it of a vanilla panna cotta with homemade honeycomb and strawberries. This is the perfect two-course meal if you're having a stay-at-home date night, if you're having friends or family around at a little dinner party, or you just fancy a nice tasty meal. It's perfect for any of those occasions. So keep on watching and I'll show you how to make it. All of the ingredients are listed in the description box below, so if you need any of the recipes, they are right there for you. Okay, let's go. So first we're going to get the panna cotta started because it does need to set in the fridge. So we're going to start off by weighing out our milk, cream and caster sugar into a saucepan. Once we've done this, we're going to pop it onto a medium heat on the hob, and we need the mix to come to a boil. So we need all of the caster sugar to dissolve into the cream mix and it needs to come to the boil. So whilst that is on the heat, we're going to prepare our vanilla pod. Now vanilla pods are one of my most favourite luxury ingredients, and if you can afford to spend that little bit extra on a vanilla pod, I highly recommend it. But don't worry, vanilla bean paste or vanilla essence, it works, you know, just as well. So in substitute for a vanilla pod, you can just drop some essence or bean paste into the saucepan. Whilst the cream is coming to a boil, don't take your eye off it, because one moment it's not boiling, the next moment it's overflowing. So don't take your eyes too far from that saucepan. But next you need to fill up a large bowl or a jug with some cold water, and we're going to put our leaf gelatin into the cold water. It just needs to soak for a couple of minutes just to soften that gelatin before we put it into the boiling cream mixture. Okay, so once your cream has made it to the boil, turn the heat off and take the saucepan off of that heat. Then get your gelatin that's been soaking, pick the gelatin up with your hand, give it a good squeeze to get all of the water out, and then drop it into that cream mixture. And you'll notice that it almost immediately dissolves. It just needs a little bit of encouragement with the whisk to fully dissolve in there. But it should not take long at all. So give that a little mix, and then we're going to put it into a jug and pour it into our moulds. I managed to get 4 out of this mix, but if you need more, just double it. Then place those into the fridge. They're going to take about 2 hours to set properly, but you can leave them in there longer. Next we're going to move on to making the honeycomb, so we can leave that to set as well. So in a saucepan again, weigh out your caster sugar and your golden syrup and place that onto a medium heat on the hob again. So this just needs a little bit of gentle encouragement. So as it heats up, the golden syrup will loosen and the sugar will start to dissolve as well under the heat. So just give it a little bit of a shake around. You don't need to put a spoon or a whisk into this. It will do its thing, trust me. So we need to get it till it's a dark caramel colour. The bubbles will have gone from quite large to quite small. And then straight away we need to add in the bicarbonate of soda and give that a whisk. This is really fun to make, and it's great if you've got kids or if you're just interested in fun things to make, but it's great to see. Pour that out onto a tray or into a dish that's lined with some greaseproof paper, and then pop it to the side to set. Moving on to the risotto, we're going to get our chicken breasts in the oven first. So put your oven on about 180 degrees C or gas mark 4 and season it with some salt and pepper and just a little bit of oil on there and straight into your oven. Next we're going to move on to preparing the vegetables. So we're going to use some leeks, and you don't have to chop them really finely. If you like, you can. It's really not a big deal, but do make sure that you give the leeks a wash. Quite often with leeks and spring onions, lots of dirt gets trapped inside them, and no one likes to bite into something that's gritty. It's like when you're on the beach and you have a sandwich, you don't like that gritty, sandy bite. So do make sure to give them a bit of a wash. Moving on to the mushrooms, finely slice those mushrooms. So get a nice sized pan on the hob on a medium heat, and you can use whatever fat you like. I have chosen to use a knob of butter in this because it's risotto at the end of the day, and you want this risotto to be nice and creamy and rich and just delicious. So I've got a bit of butter for mine, and I'm going to put the leeks in, and I'm just going to slowly saute the leeks for about 5 minutes just to cook them down. I don't want to give them a colour, they still want to retain the greenness of the leeks. So once they have cooked for about 5 minutes, I'm going to add the mushrooms in and saute those mushrooms for just a couple of minutes. The mushrooms are going to cook when we add the stock into the risotto, so we don't need to fully cook those down just yet. So once the mushrooms have cooked down slightly, add in your arborio rice. Give that a little stir. At this point, feel free to add in some white wine and just reduce that wine down just to cook the alcohol off and leave it with the nice wine flavour. That's completely optional. I didn't add it into ours, but you can absolutely add it to yours. So cook the rice off just a minute or so, and then we're going to add the stock. I like to use the Knorr stock cubes. I use the chicken ones. I personally find that these have a really great strong flavour for risottos, but feel free to use whichever stock of choice that you like. So what I do, I make room in the middle of the pan and I put the stock cubes in, add a little bit of water and just mush it down together to make a little bit of a paste. Mix in all the vegetables and the rice so that initial stock flavour is covering everything in the pan. Then what you want to do, add in some boiling water just to cover the rice, and then leave that on a medium heat. So you don't want it to be bubbling too much, but you don't want it on a simmer. Leave that until almost all of that stock is absorbed by the rice. Then try a grain of rice. If it needs some more stock or more water added, add a little bit more, and you're going to be doing that until the rice is to the perfect consistency for you. So for me, I like it almost fully cooked. I don't like it quite al dente, but I like it with just a tiny bite to it. So once you've got it at that stage, we're going to add the good stuff in, and by good stuff I mean cheese, pepper, butter, cream. You can go wild at this stage. I did not really go wild though because I didn't have that much in the house. So I've added cheese to mine. You can use mozzarella, you can use Parmesan. It's totally up to you. An Italian hard cheese does work best because it's got a stronger flavour to it. So adding cheese, adding plenty of black pepper, salt if it needs it, if it's not salty enough from the stock. I like to add fresh chives, but I did not have any. I really highly recommend fresh chives, delicious. You can add a bit of cream or some butter to it as well. And just give it a good stir, try it, see how it tastes. If it needs anything else, add a bit more in, just play with it. By this point, your chicken should be cooked and you want to take it out, leave it to rest just for a moment or two, and then slice your chicken up. And now it's ready to plate. So I often make this risotto and I have vegetables with it. Tender stem broccoli goes really well, but as mentioned previously, we did not have much in the house. So we've gone for a plate full of risotto and I just top it with the chicken. You can garnish with some fresh herbs if you have added some fresh herbs. As I mentioned, chives works wonderful with this style of risotto. But there we go. Super simple, really tasty chicken, leek and mushroom risotto. On to the best bit, the pudding. Let's get going. So, that honeycomb we made earlier, that should be set now and ready. Take a rolling pin to it and give it a good old bash. We're going to break it into smallish shards to go with our panna cotta, but absolutely, if you want larger ones, go for it. I made a little bit of a strawberry puree just by mashing together some strawberries and then draining the juice. That's all it is. And I've always wanted to do that splatter technique that you just saw. I saw it on MasterChef once. I thought, let's give it a go. So for the panna cotta, take it out of the fridge, dip it into some boiling water just for a few seconds, and then take it out. As you can see, I just eased it slightly with my fingers as well, just to help it out of the ramekin that it's in, and then topped it onto the plate. And then I just garnished it with the honeycomb that we made, and I diced up some fresh strawberries to go with it as well. So put those around, and then I just tidied the plate because I wasn't feeling full splatter effect. I thought I'd make it look a little bit neater. Can you see the wobble on that panna cotta? Perfect. If you've never had panna cotta before, it has the taste of a vanilla ice cream, but in a almost, I'm going to say jelly-like way, but not so much creamier. It's very delicious, very light. It's a really nice dessert to have. You don't feel overly full with it. And there we go. There's our vanilla panna cotta with strawberries and honeycomb. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you've picked up something that you would like to have a go at, whether it's one thing or the whole 2-course meal. But I hope you enjoy, and I look forward to hearing from you.